not even need Bauer's game for me.
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. Today we're excited to check out Screaming Eagles from Milton Bradley. Roar into combat with this action-packed air assault game. For 2 to 4 players, ages 10 plus. It'll take, I don't know, about 15 to 25 minutes to play. And in Screaming Eagles, this is a game where you're going to be laying down a card each turn and moving your jet around the board, trying to destroy either the enemy blue team or the enemy tan team. This is a team game if you're playing with 4 or 3 players, or if you're playing 2 players, it's a head-to-head style game. We're going to be rolling dice, moving jets around, and boom, blowing stuff up. It's very light, it's very simple, it's very old school, but is it very good? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Screaming Eagles. So first and foremost, we have our handy-dandy rule booklet. It's one really obnoxiously long page. It's double-sided, black and white, but it's got plenty of pictures, examples, illustrations. Just look at all these. That is exactly what you want out of a rule booklet. And it's a very well-done rule booklet. Hats off to this rule booklet. Excellent job. So in Screaming Eagles, you're going to be taking control of either 1 or 2 planes, and your goal is to destroy the other colored planes by rolling dice and shooting either cannons or missiles at them as you fly around the skies. What am I talking about? Let's take a look at the components, then we'll get into the gameplay. So first, component-wise, you're going to get these 4 really stinking nice jets. Yeah, these are really nice. And on the bottom, they're going to have a different logo on them. Those are going to correspond to a pile of cards that you're going to have. And everybody's pile of cards are very, very similar. They're going to give you different ways that you're going to be able to fly through the air, and also different lengths. So this one, you're going to roll 4 black dice, which means you're going to be flying left, because it says break left, a good deal. And sometimes they'll say roll 1 dice, and you also can see here, very simple, left 1 dice, left 2 dice, straight ahead 2, so on and so forth. You're going to be laying down one of these around, and that's how you're going to be flying. Next, you got these dice right here. The black dice are for flying around the board and also figuring out where you're taking damage. They go 1, 2, 3 on them. And then you have the white dice over here, the red dice, you can't read, which have 0 to 5. That's it, 0 to 5. And I'll explain those a little bit later. The last big thing you have is your hub right here, and this is really going to be your command center. On the top, you have your plane. This is how your plane is going to get destroyed. If it ever gets hit once in the cockpit or once in the fuel tank, boom, it's immediately gone. If it ever gets 4 times in the wings, 2 times in the engines, or 2 times in the tail section. And when people hit you, they're going to roll dice to see where they hit you. So it is definitely luck-based whether or not you're going to get destroyed or not, but still a pretty cool aspect. Down here are your weapons, and I'm actually missing 1 cannon round, not the end of the world. I could easily put that in there like this. But these are the weapons you're going to have at your command. You have long-range missiles, medium-range missiles, and cannon rounds. Long-range missiles are the best, which is why I only have 2 of them. Medium-range are second best, and then cannon rounds are only situationally used if people are right in front of you, or right to the left of you, or right to the right of you, which I'll show you a little bit later. Last but not least, you have 2 flares down at the bottom. They will help you out a little bit when people are shooting missiles at you, but you only have 2 for the entire game. So how does the game work? Let's go ahead and we'll show you. So we'll just pretend that I'm this guy right here. I would pick where I want to go, and you're going to go based on the order blue, tan, blue, tan. So let's just pretend I'm this guy right here, so I'll go second. Blue would go first. And everyone at this point is going to put down 1 of their cards. So we're just going to randomly put down a card for them. We'll randomly put down a card for them. Randomly put down a card for them. And then we'll put down my card. Let's see. We only want to go a little bit. So we'll break right and we'll roll 1 black dice. Actually, you know what? We're going to go last because that would make the most sense for us. So first, blue's going to go, and this is the blue tiger. And they are going to roll 2 dice, black dice, and they're going to break left. So the tiger's going to go 2 left. So they would go 3 spaces. They would go 1, 2, 3. That's actually really stinking good for us. That is incredibly good. That's really bad for them. So now green is going to go. Now how your turn works is you have really two things you can do. You can fire and you can move. And you can fire and move, or you can move and then fire. It really doesn't matter which one you do. So this time he's going to break right. He's going to roll 1 black dice. And he's actually going to risk it. He's going to risk it and hope he doesn't get a 3, because if he gets a 3, he won't be able to fire because he'll be right here. But if he gets a 1 or a 2, he'll be able to use his cannon round instead of his missiles. Because as I mentioned, a cannon can shoot straight in front of you, like just a straight line, to the right or to the left. But if it's anywhere else, like right here or right there or right here, you can't shoot. So he's gonna risk it and hope it doesn't get a 3. He got a 2, which is perfect. So 1, 2. He's right behind the guy, and then he's gonna use his cannon round. And this is actually a good example. We'll just pretend that this guy, you know what, we'll just pretend it's this one. So how it works is, all right, I'm shooting this person right now with my cannon. So he would take 1 of his cannon rounds out, and he gets to roll 2 dice. All he has to do is not get 2 zeros, and he's going to get a hit. So boom, he gets a hit. So bam, that person is hit. So now what he's going to do is he's going to roll all 4 of the black dice to see where he's going to hit the other person, because as I mentioned, that goes up here. So he'd roll the dice, and he got himself a 5, 6, 7, so that would be a shot on the wings. It's a worse place to hit somebody, but still, you've done a point of damage. You've left your mark on them. We did 1 point of damage to his wings, so he would take, you know, one of these and go, bam, 1 shot on the wings, if we're pretending this is the bad guy. So now this guy gets to go, and he could use his... No, he cannot shoot this guy because it has to be inside of your cone. So let's see what he actually put up there. He put roll 1 black die and break right. That's unfortunate. So he'd go 1, 2, 3, and then it would go on to my turn. So I'm in an interesting position because he's also within my range as well, so I could shoot him. So before I take my move of... let's see, breaking right and rolling 1 black dice, because once again, if I get a 3, I would go 1, 2, 3 and jump right over him. I don't want to do that. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to use a cannon on him as well. So I take 1 cannon out of my ship, and everybody's going to have their own unique one of these boards. I only have 2 out right now for this video. So I take 1 out, roll the dice. I need to get a 3. Oh, swing and a miss. That's unfortunate. So I've wasted a cannon round, which in the grand scheme of things is not a big deal because you get 8 cannon rounds. And then I take my turn. So I'm going to roll 1 black dice. And 1, 2, 3. And now this is really bad for me because next turn this person is obviously going to take a pot shot at me before they move. And this is pretty much what you're going to do from round to round. You'll take your card, you'll put it back in your hand. There's no like waiting to get cards back or anything like that, gamery elements like that. And let's show you what happens if you go to the end of the board. So let's pretend in this particular example, I'm all the way over here and I rolled left, 2 spaces. So let's just say I'm rolling left 2 black dice. I need to roll left 5. So I would go 1, and then I'd look over here for 170, which is right here, and I'd go 2, 3, 4, 5. Likewise, if I went through 10, I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I was going straight. So as you can see, the board wraps around. Now, in case you're wondering, you can't shoot someone here. You can't, be like, I'm right here, and this person's right here. You can't. This guy can't shoot him because you can't wrap around. That's not how space and time works. But anywho, you're going to continue to go until 2 planes get destroyed. If you're playing a 4-player version of the game, then these 2 guys are teammates. If you're playing a 2-player version, then you control both planes. If you're playing a 3-player version of the game, 1 person controls 2 planes, and 2 people control 1 plane. But you're going to go until either both the tan planes are dead or both the blue planes are dead. And that, in a nutshell, is what you're going to do inside of Screaming Eagles. All right, and Screaming Eagles from Milton Bradley. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros. Let's go over the cons. First, on the con side. The game, 2 to 4 players, restricted player count. Also, 3 players is, without a doubt, the worst player count because it runs into that awkward situation where 1 person is going to have full control over both planes, and then 2 people are going to have to work together trying to beat the 1 person. You always want to be... Well, at least for me personally. I shouldn't say you always, because everybody's different. I always like being the person that controls 2 planes as opposed to 1 plane. So 3 players was just my least favorite way to play the game. But that being said, It's great no matter how you play it. Also, this game is just begging to be redone with some more gamery elements, special asymmetrical planes, different weapons, different things like that. This game, I was flat out flabbergasted at how great this game is, which will tell you more about the pros, but there are going to be some elements where you're like, man, I kind of wish they would have had this or would have had that, where like once you use a card, it's gone for a while or something like that. Or once you get hit in certain spots, maybe you lose certain abilities. They could have really added more to this game, and I hope in the future someone takes this game and does some things like that, because man, there's a lot of potential in this game. It's very luck-based. That's a huge comment a lot of people are going to have. It's also very repetitive. You're going to do the same thing. Lay down a card, move around, maybe shoot somebody, lay down a card, shoot somebody, move around. You're going to do that over and over again. And also, if someone just happens to roll a 12 the first time they shoot you with their cannon, boom, you're dead. It's just as simple as that. You're dead. I also forgot to mention, I do want to mention one thing I forgot to do in the middle part, which is mention how the flares work. Essentially how the flares work are when someone shoots a missile at you, you can use one of your flares before they've rolled the dice, and it cancels out their highest die. It's not really part of the cons. It's just something I forgot to mention in the middle part, so I want to mention it now. So yeah, repetitive, 2 to 4 players, and I wish I wanted more out of the game. That's pretty much all I have for Screaming Eagles. Moving on to the pros, Screaming Eagles is a great game. Great. This is a great family game. When I brought this into my classroom, the kids were like, whoa, this is super duper fun. And I was like, holy crap, this is super duper fun. This is a great game. It's easy to learn. It's easy to teach. It's fun flying around. It's fun trying to predict where other people are going to go. It's fun rolling the dice and being like, oh, I got an 11. Oh, I get you one more time. Bam, you're done. And it's cool watching your plane slowly get destroyed. And you're like, oh man, if you get a 7, an 8, a 12, or a 4, I'm done with. But if you roll anything else, then I can keep flying. And I like that. One more comment I do have is there is player elimination, especially when you're playing 3 or 4 players. So as if someone gets their plane destroyed, they're just out of the game. Just period. You're done. So that will be a turnoff for some people, but the game goes by briskly enough that it wasn't a huge deal. It has like kind of a King of Tokyo-esque vibe that normally the games don't last so long, and they're interesting enough that being eliminated is not a huge deal. But I will say I've seen it happen where I actually felt bad for the kid. I knocked him out my first time. I shot him with a long-range missile that was kind of a Hail Mary. I was like, well, I need an 8 to get you, and I got an 8. I was like, what? And then I rolled, I think it was a 4, and he was dead. And he was like, so what now? I was like, oh, well, you're out of the game. Sorry, Braylon. Womp womp. So that is a little bit of a bummer. But continuing on with the pros, I like everything about this game. I like the components. I like the rules. I like the gameplay. Played it with adults. They had fun as well. It's very light and simple, obviously, but they had fun with it. And this is one that if you can find it at a thrift store, absolutely recommend picking up. And I don't think I've ever said this about any of the games that I got last year. So I got this huge collection of games. There's probably like 500 to 1,000 games I got from this guy who was a thrifter, and he just had them piling up inside of his basement. I'm not exaggerating when I say 500 to 1,000 games. Look for a video where we literally we picked our top 10 games out of there that I did last year. This is the best game I've played from that collection, I do believe. This is the only game, retro game, that I've played out of this collection. I would say it's worth actually searching for if you like jet fighting games, because it's incredibly well done. So that is Screaming Eagles from Milton Bradley. This is going into my collection, despite the fact it's one of these obnoxiously long boxes, and I am going to be singing the praises of this game from the hilltops. It's actually probably going to go into my classroom because the kids in there liked it so much. But I'm actually going to play it with my kids more because my kids really liked it a lot, and I enjoyed it. Not a game night game per se, without more gamery elements, but as it stands right now, really fantastic family game. Highly recommend Screaming Eagles if you can find it. Milton Bradley did a great job with this one. If you enjoyed this review, please sure to click on that subscribe button down below. If you want to support the channel, click on that Amazon link down below. Anything you buy, I get a couple pennies off of it. Still the same Amazon great prices. And in the comments below, let me know, when was the last time that you played a really old school game and you're like, wow, this stands up to the test of time? For me personally, this is obviously it. But looking at the games I recently reviewed, Domination, which it actually won the Spiel des Jahres it, I think, in 1981. It's this abstract strategy game. Really, really very good. I think I gave it an 8. So a great abstract strategy game, which is not a review, not a number I give typically to abstract strategies. This is my least favorite genre of games. But that would be the one that really stood the test of time for me. Domination, this one, and that's what I got off the top of my head. Let me know in the comments below. What's the last great game that withstood the test of time for you? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.